In the briefing room, temporary teachers to receive August salaries. New agricultural technology to attract the youth. Reporters ask our cabinet ministers pointed questions. And the government pays tribute to the late Elmer Jean Isaac, ambassador to CARICOM and the OECS. Stay with us. I'm Melissa Paul, Press Secretary to the Prime Minister, and I'll tell you more about these and other stories inside the briefing room.
Cooking gas is a commodity nearly every household uses. Because liquefied petroleum gas, or LPG, is not manufactured in St. Lucia, local petroleum dealers like Sol and Ruby's pay higher costs to import it into the country. Before cooking gas is sold to consumers, the government applies a subsidy to every 20-pound and 22-pound LPG cylinder to lower the prices. So, for every 20-pound and 22-pound LPG cylinder, the government pays, on average, $18 per cylinder for you. The government continues to absorb the costs, so you pay less.
Your government is working for you. Prime Minister Honorable Philip G. Pierre has announced several new developments that will take place when the new school year reopens. Amongst those changes is the repayment of August salaries to temporary teachers.
At the end of this month, temporary teachers will get their August salaries. And that is the government's way of saying we appreciate the work that these temporary teachers do. And in fact, many of them actually work during the vacation, and in terms of going to courses, etc., and sometimes to go back to the school to help, and the government shows its appreciation for them by paying them their August salaries.
The Prime Minister announced an increase in the tuition subsidy for every early childhood student enrolled in privately owned preschools, doubling the support from $50 to $100 per child. For hundreds of parents, this means more help with school fees at a time when the cost of living is rising. In August 2024, 105 privately owned preschool institutions each received $2,500 to help manage their school facility. This year, the amount will rise to $3,000 per institution, helping keep classrooms safe, well-equipped, and conducive to learning, and building on the government's commitment to establishing a universal early childhood education. And the government's focus on education doesn't stop there. Addressing another barrier to learning, Prime Minister Pierre announced a $250,000 allocation to combat period poverty in schools this academic year.
The budget promise of the provision of feminine packages, which was roundly criticized by the opposition, will happen this term. At the students going to secondary schools or this term will be eligible, and that is going to be managed by the schools for feminine packages to reduce period poverty.
No girl should have to skip school because of her period, right? By providing sanitary products in schools, this government is restoring dignity, keeping girls in schools uninterrupted, and joining the global fight to end period poverty. You're watching In the Briefing Room. When we come back, the Ministry of Agriculture takes to an innovative approach, attracting youth to the sector. Many factors affect the cost of goods that are imported into the country, like shipping costs and the increase in prices overseas. Take flour, for instance. The average cost of a 100-pound bag of flour is $128.25. Thankfully, the government uses subsidies to reduce the cost of flour imports. Here's how it works. For every 100-pound bag of flour, the government covers $43.25. This decreases the price from $128.25 to $85. So you pay less for flour, bread, and other flour products at the supermarket. The government continues to absorb part of the costs, so you pay less. Your government is working for you. Welcome back to the briefing room. I'm Melissa Paul. Agriculture Minister Honorable Alfred Prosper says he is taking a multi-pronged approach to strengthening St. Lucia's food security with the introduction of new farming technology. With the assistance of the Government of Guyana, a hydroponic system has been established at the Union Agricultural Station.
And that was really to help us boost production of our leafy vegetables. So lettuce, cauliflower, and a range of other leafy vegetables. We are hoping that we can boost production of these items or commodities to reduce the imports of them.
Hydroponics is a way of growing plants without soil, using a nutrient-rich water-based solution instead. It lets farmers grow more food in less space, often faster than traditional farming, and it's not as labor-intensive, making it easier to manage while producing high yields. The minister says, with an aging farming population, it is critical for the government to attract youth to the sector to secure the island's food production.
And currently we have 3 students who went through Sir Arthur Rice Community College, and they are actually employed at the facility to really help boost the production of those commodities. I want to see a lot more young people get some level of training via this facility, and also to encourage those young persons who are doing the agricultural projects, the SBAs, to use the hydroponics facility to be able to get that interest in agriculture. As I said, the older persons in agriculture, the senior persons are on their way out, and we really need to attract the young people.
Here's what you can expect this school year. $250,000 for free feminine hygiene products in schools. Temporary teachers will now be paid in August. Grants to private early childhood centers will increase from $2,500 to $3,000 per school. The tuition subsidy for children, private early childhood, pre-K schools will double from $50 to $100 per child. Your government is working for you.
And now it's time to go point blank, where our pool of reporters get straight to the heart of the matter. This is the question and answer session.
Mr. Minister, can you maybe shed some more light on the farm labor program? Because one of the things that we're getting out of the field is that one of the things we're seeing out of the field is that the amount that we pay to farm laborers is so small that what we're looking at is a farm labor shortage. How do we go about solving that problem as we aim for food security?
We know the problems that our farmers face with farm labor. Our young people seem not to think that farm labor is the way to go. Now, one reason is that, again, the dirt. I don't want to be dirty. Secondly, they want to work very short hours. They want to get to the farm at 7, and by 11, they want to go out. I mean, the farmer needs to get value for money. But that is a major problem. And I remember having a discussion with the Minister of Agriculture of Dominica at an OECS Ministers of Agriculture meeting. And they've established a policy approved by the Cabinet of Ministers in Dominica to bring in farm labor from outside of Dominica. This may be the way to go. Because if the farmers continue to be challenged by not being able to get the labor requirements on the farm, it will discourage them and it would force them to leave the industry at a time when this industry is very critical to the development of this country.
Moving on from that, earlier this year, a committee was put in place and mandated to review the work of the Constitutional Reform Commission and make recommendations for a new constitution and a revised status for St. Lucia. Any updates on that one?
Its work is chaired by the Speaker of Parliament, and the jury is still out on whether St. Lucia has to be a republic, or whether we have to go to a referendum or not. The jury is still out on that. But as you may recall, there was a report from a constitutional committee, you may recall, and that report is being looked at by a bipartisan committee, which is being chaired by the Speaker of the Parliament. It's something that is work in progress.
So beginning August 20th, the U.S. has announced that for two countries, specifically Malawi and Zambia, nationals applying for B1 and B2 business and tourist visas would be required to pay a bond. They are stating that they will be adding additional countries to that list, and countries with citizenship by investment programs are those under review. So my question is, what safeguards or measures are being put in place to ensure our CIP does not put St. Lucians at risk of being added to this list?
We're in no position to control U.S. policy. U.S. policy will be U.S. policy. So we cannot determine what the U.S. government will do. We can't. What we can do is we can work together, and we can ensure that we make our CIP program as transparent, as accountable as possible. But we have no control over U.S. policy.
You're watching The Briefing Room. Coming up next, the government expresses condolences to the family of Ambassador Elma Jean Isaac. We'll tell you more after the break.
Get the facts straight from the source in The Briefing Room. For the latest government press briefings, policies, programs, and projects that matter to you, from national security to health, education, and economic growth, it's all in The Briefing Room. Join the Prime Minister's Press Secretary, Melissa Paul, in The Briefing Room, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. on HTS, Thursdays at 15 p.m. on MBC, and on Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. on NTN. In The Briefing Room, facts matter. In The Briefing Room, people matter.
Welcome back. You're in The Briefing Room. In extending condolences to the family of Her Excellency Elma Jean Isaac, Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre also paid tribute to her distinguished service. A proud St. Lucian, she served as an ambassador to CARICOM and the OECS, and was a respected member of the CARICOM Committee of Ambassadors.
Her work on the regional and international stage significantly advanced St. Lucia's interests and strengthened our global partnerships. She was a fierce advocate of our country, a regionalist, a mentor to many aspiring diplomats, and a beacon of integrity and professionalism. Her legacy is woven into the very fabric of our foreign policy, and a contribution to be remembered for generations to come. We have lost a true national treasure, but the spirit of service will continue to inspire us.
Ambassador Elma Jean Isaac will be laid to rest in St. Lucia on Friday, August 15, 2025. And that's our show. Thanks for joining us. Remember to stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll see you next time when we go inside the briefing room. I'm Melissa Paul. Good night.